Give it up for Margarita Franco.
All right, so I grew up in Riverside, California, and I have 5 brothers. I have 3 older. I know. I just want to hold on to this thing. Again, with those things. It's like I have 3 older brothers, 2 younger brothers, and my mom and dad used to fight all the time. Okay, all the time, and they were usually fighting about money or my mom's extracurricular activities, which was dating. Yeah, she didn't. I had a lot of uncles. I didn't have as many cousins, but I had a lot of uncles. And my mom was always accusing my dad of cheating, okay? I was always telling him that he was cheating. And my mom had even at 11 years of age, I knew that my mom was paranoid because she had concocted this crazy story that my dad had a girlfriend. And that girlfriend would follow him everywhere. It was like a never-ending game of Where's Waldo. My mom could spot her anywhere. And my mom swore that the girlfriend was like a human GPS because she could track my dad anywhere. And she would follow my dad everywhere. And then my mom was like, that's where look, there she is. That's her over there. My mother's from Mexico, by the way. And so we would go on vacation for us, our broke-ass family, a vacation was like going up to Mount Baldy with homemade tents. And we would be at our little campsite, and there would be like a man and a woman in the next campsite with the Coleman tent, and it was really cool. And my mom was sure that woman at that campsite was there for my dad. And she would give her the death stare, like, Don't think I don't see you, puta. I know you followed us here. And that poor lady was trying to make s'mores with her husband, like, wait. There are traumatized people out there because of my mother. Another time, we were stuck in traffic, and I was in the back seat, and my mom, she's just stuck there, right? And there's a car next to us, and there's a woman in the car, and she accidentally, this is a complete stranger, accidentally makes eye contact with my mother. And then my mother looks at me and says, you see that, Marchie? You see that, puta? That's the one who's going out with your father. That's her. Puta, I see you. Don't think I don't see you. I'm not stupid, okay? I'm not crazy. Oh, man, my mom. And my dad, he loved my mother to a fault. He just loved her. And when he would get a couple of beers in him, he would get all misty-eyed, all telemundo. And he would recount this same story of how he met my mother at a dance social in Brownsville, Texas, when he was in the Air Force. She was 15, Marchie. I was 19. We were goddamn babies. She was the most beautiful goddamn woman I ever saw in my life. She was real. And you know, my Air Force uniform was all iron because that's what they teach you in the Air Force, Marchie. She was the most goddamn beautiful woman I ever saw. She was Mexican beauty. God damn it. And he always cried when he told this story. So my brothers and I were it's the 70s, right? My brother's room is painted in neon orange. I think ours was purple. There were like Jay Giles posters on the wall, Jimi Hendrix. I'm sure there was like that time's version of a nickel bag. No, a spliff or a blunt, right? They called it a lid back then. Anyway, it was probably in there. So we're watching Gilligan's Island. My mom and dad are fighting, but now my mom has added that the girlfriend has kids with my dad. So she's yelling at him and saying, I know that goddamn woman who lives on Galena Street in that little yellow house, with the chain link fence. Yeah, I know, you go over there. And my dad is like, what, Gina, what are you talking about? And my brothers are just watching TV. Like, this is nothing. And I'm looking around like, what the hell's going on here? And so then my mom, she walks over to the door, and she's standing at the door frame, and we're watching TV, and I look up at her, and then she looks at us, very dramatic. She's very dramatic. And she goes, Marchie, Ricky, Mondo, Joe, Alex, and you too, pendejo. Listen to me. I'm leaving your father because he's goddamn cheating on me, and I'm not taking it no more. You hear me? And you can go live with that puta girlfriend in that house over there at the chain link fence on Galena Street. I don't give a shit. And I'm like, my brothers never take their eyes off of the skipper in Gilligan. And then I'm looking around like, wait, what's going on? Because I'm not as seasoned as my brothers, right? And I don't know what's happening. And my mother is now upset because we're not getting up in arms about this. Like, yeah, Mom, yeah, you deserve better. What are you doing hanging out with this guy who lets you cheat and stay out all night? What kind of bullshit is that, Mom? Nobody says anything. And so my mom sees that I have like this deer in the headlights look like, and she looks at me and she goes, you want to come with me, Marchie? Huh? You can have your own room. And you can put up all those pinchy Donny Osmond posters that you love all over the walls. I don't give a shit. And she walks away, and I'm like, oh shit, my own room? Like, Donny Osmond was the Harry Styles of the 70s, okay? Like, I had the Jackson 5 and Donny Osmond posters all over. I was like so excited. I mean, first of all, you don't know what it was, the torture of sharing a room with brothers, right? Teenage boys. Like, my brothers would go into the bathroom and they would get a towel and they'd wet the tip of it, right? And then they'd like wring it like this, and then they'd flick it at me and flick it at me, and they'd chase me around, and that shit stung. And I wanted a girl's room, right? Not like a locker room. And then sometimes I'd try to sneak and hide a Donny Osmond poster or put it up on the wall, and I'd come home from school and there'd be like a big penis drawn like right next to or hairy balls under Donnie's. It was just, and so when my mom said my own room, I was like, yeah, man, I'm in. So I jump up and I follow my mom, and I'm like, now we're buddies, and she's got her arm around me, and she's telling me how great it's gonna be, and I am just lapping this all up. And I look back at my brothers, and they are still watching Gilligan. They never take their eyes off the TV. And I start putting all my stuff in big plastic bags, and I'm dragging them to the front of the house. And then my oldest brother, gets in the way, and he's like, look at you, Marge, you ain't going anywhere, you dork. You're so stupid. And I'm like, shut up, fuckface. Because even though I was 11, I had 5 brothers. I'm like, get out of my way, I'm getting my own room. And so I sit on my bags and I wait for hours and hours while my parents fight about the supposed girlfriend and the kids that my dad has with this woman. And then I take my clothes, I think we're leaving, right? Because my mom comes out of the room and she sees me and she goes, yeah, and that woman, that goddamn puta, she almost rammed our car on the freeway. Marchie saw, didn't you, Marchie? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I take my bags and I go down to the car and I sit in there and I wait. Because I think we're gonna leave soon. And then I realize, like, this whole time, my mom has not packed anything. She doesn't have anything. She doesn't have her purse, nothing, right? And she's like laying in hard on my dad. Like, and my dad is just taking it. She's like, yeah, I know you sneak over there at night, okay? Don't lie, because I see you, and I will go into your goddamn closet and I will rip up every one of those suits right now. My mom kept the Men's Warehouse in business all through the 70s. And so my dad is taking it. My mom is like, yeah. And then my dad like fucking snaps. He just snaps. He goes, you want to go to that house, China? Is that what you want? Get in the car. So he's like walking down to the walkway, and he jumps in the car. And then my mom's like, ooh. So she follows behind him. She gets in the car and she's looking at him. And he's just like laying on the gas and bending every block. And we come to, and I'm in the back seat. And we like skid to a halt. My dad jumps out of the car and he goes walking up this walkway of that little house on Galena Street with the chain link fence. And he knocks on the door. And I'm like in the car and my mom is looking. And she looks back at me and she goes, Mira, look at your daddy, so macho, huh? like suddenly she's turned on by the fact that he now has cojones or something. I don't know. And I say to my mom, so I'm getting my own room, right? We're moving? And she looks at me and she goes, Margie, I don't know what you're talking about, moving. ¿Qué estás hablando? No, I don't know. Shut up. And now I'm like crushed because that whole Thelma and Louise Bond thing that we had, it's over. And now I'm mad. And so I get out of the car and I slam the door and I walk up the walkway to where my dad is. And I'm just getting up there when the door opens. And there's this man staring at my dad and looking at me. And he says, may I help you? And I don't think my dad planned for this part of the story. Because my dad looks at him and he goes, yeah, this is going to sound crazy, I know, but my wife is in the car, and we all look back, and you can't even see her because by now she slid down the floorboard. And my dad goes, yes, she's there. She thinks that I'm having an affair with the woman who lives in this house, and I have tried to tell her that I am not, that I don't know anyone who lives in this house, and I'm not doing anything with anybody in this house. And the man is just staring at my dad, and then looking at me. And then my dad, who's an oversharer, says, listen, I love my wife. I would not cheat on my wife. We have 6 kids. Why would I want more kids? I have all these kids. She's a kid. I mean, she terrorizes her. She thinks that I know a woman who lives here, and I told her, look, I'll drive you here and I'll show you that I don't know anybody who lives in this goddamn house, but she won't let it go. And finally, the man says, mister, you got to get out of that marriage. Is that your daughter? Come in, get away from her. Get in, come inside. And now my dad is confused because a total stranger is trying to get my dad to leave my mom. And then he's really upset. And my dad's, it's okay. No, it's not okay. You can't be treated like this. And he's looking over, and my mom is in the car making the face, right? And my dad finally assures him, it's okay. She exaggerates. We're going to be okay. And so finally they shake hands. And the man closes the door, and my dad turns around, and I'm just standing there, and he grabs my hand, and we start walking to the car. God, I remember this so well. And I can see that my dad is weary, like he's so tired of this. And I forget about everything. I forget about Donny Osmond poster being teabagged. I forget about the penis drawn in my own room. I forget about all of it. And we get in the car, and then it hits me. I know now why my brothers never did anything, because they had gone through it. They had done this 1,000 times. It was just my turn to be initiated into this club. And I sit in the back seat, and I'm looking at the back of my mom's head, and I'm thinking, man, my dad must love my mom to put up with all this shit all these years. And my mom is sitting there with her hands folded. And she doesn't say anything. My dad is driving. He looks, the rearview mirror looks at my mom. And finally we pull up. And my dad stops the car and he looks at my mom and he says, Gina, you see, honey, I love you. I don't know anybody who lives in that house. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have other kids. I got 6 kids with you. Why? I don't know anybody in that house. My mom is really quiet. She looks straight ahead, and then she looks at my dad. And then she goes, she moved, didn't she? She fucking moved, that bitch. I saw you, Hall. And so it goes on. That's for you, Mom.